Hello and welcome to day 5 of drawing hands. So today we're going to continue with drawing our right hands, and we are going to once again try our side view, which would be the same side view we had with our gargoyle hands and then our much less more pretty sausage hands. But today we'll draw at least three hands. But with our first one, we're going to start off with our thumb, kind of sticking out a little bit. You're not quite that. There we go. You have a thumb. I always like starting with the thumbs because it's just the easiest reference point for the rest of the hands. And then we'll come up and draw a pointer finger. And as I do this, just so I have a better reference, I just will set up my hand right next to the drawing. Just look at that. See how that is turning out. Then we'll have our middle finger, which part of it will be behind it and part of it will be in front. Our index finger, which will start back here, come out here. Then our pinky finger is off here by itself. So it's probably kind of hard to see. So I'll do a hard outline. But essentially, well, it didn't really turn out as a side view. It turned out more of as a gnarled hand. Oh, sorry. It turned out more as a gnarled hand, just in that weird crunch all your fingers until they cramp up type way. But the hand itself definitely looks a lot better than what we've been working on. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that progress. I mean, the only thing that would make it better then, I don't know what I just tried to do there. Now the only thing that would make it better is that if we could attach this to a body or do some shading in. But I'm happy with that. You can see the thumb easily. You can easily tell that the pointer finger's there. You get a sense that these fingers are actually where they're supposed to be. You don't have a weird palm area right here, what I've been trying to do. You can see the middle finger in the back. I think this is our best hand so far, which is not surprising because as we start with complete trash, we should move towards to something that isn't complete Igor. So yeah, I like this hand. So just to finish it off, I'm just going to add some knuckle marks to it. Just that way, it'll just look a little bit better. There we go. There's hand number 1, and I think my favorite hand so far. Alright, so for our second hand, we're going to do a back view as we normally do. And we're actually going to do 2 hands today. So we're going to start off with a right hand over more towards this side of the paper, because as you can see I'm right at the edge. And Just wait for the camera to zoom in a little bit. There you go. So we're going to start with our thumb. The classic thumb. Kind of a fat thumb here. Then we'll have our pointer finger coming out. Not quite that far. We'll erase those extra lines a little later. Then our middle finger. And then our index. And then our pinky. And, I mean, it's not our best hand. It's not as good as the one that we just drew, but I mean, it'll do. It'll do for now. I mean, these are just practice sketches. We're not trying to do anything fancy. We're trying to get down to show ourselves that we can do it. I mean, we got this ridiculously thick pinky over here, a thin pointer finger. It's actually probably one of the worst hands, but so I kind of rushed this one, and part of that, oh boy, he looks like he has two thumbs. And part of that was because of what we're going to do with the third hand we're going to draw. And the third hand we're going to draw is going to be over here, and we're going to try and make it a mirror of this hand. Because most people, if you haven't noticed, have similar hands. They might not be exactly perfect, but still, you don't want to draw one hand and then draw the other one completely unproportional. So we want to start the thumb. Kind of make it a little fat. A long, narrow pointer. Our middle finger. Our index. Oh boy. And our pinky. So these don't really look the same at all in any way, shape, or form. Well, they look the same in one sense, and that's that they are both hideous. They're both very hard to look at. But that's okay, because it was meant to be fast. It was meant to look bad. You see, some people, they'll try and do this, and they'll get frustrated because they are trying to draw something amazing. But the thing is, though, is that then they get frustrated because they can't do that. And that's perfectly fine. You should not settle for minimal effort. You should settle for the best thing that you can draw. But when you don't know how to do something, it's all right to mess up. You're going to have practices. If you're trying to write something and you do not know what to write, just start typing on the computer. Literally type, "Oh my gosh, I am bored out of my mind. I have no idea what I'm going to do." And eventually thoughts will start to form, and then you'll have a base. You'll have a basic outline. And that's the point of this. It's the same thing as this. The goal right now is not to make something creative or beautiful or astonishing or amazing. The point right now is to put drawings on the paper so that we have a visual representation of progress. That is one of the that is essential to the psychology of getting a project done. If you try to get a project done and you try to do a big part and you don't see it getting done, you're going to be distraught and you are not going to be able to finish the project because you are going to see no progress being done. But if you just do a small thing, just a small thing at a time, if you just draw a terrible hand, you'll see, hey, I got something done. Hey, I drew a terrible hand. And eventually, if you just do one more small thing, you just draw one more hand a day. One more hand a day. Today, I want my fingernails to look nice. I'm gonna try and shade my fingernails so they look nice. I want my thumbs to be less ugly. I'm gonna just spend a little bit more time on my middle fingers, on my pointers, on my index. If you go at your own pace and you just do a little bit, but eventually, is if you get 100 little things done, you will get one big thing done. And then there still is the problem with pacing. But for something like drawing, which is just so time consuming and more of a hobby that a lot of people have and that people don't really do, that very few people actually make it to a point where they can do it professionally, is that if you just do a little bit, eventually you'll get a point to where you're satisfied. And if you just draw a little bit, that's fine. You'll see a little bit of progress and you'll still feel good. But if you want to draw a lot, you just draw hands over and over. Fill up an entire page with hands. And eventually you'll see the same results. But that's the purpose of this, is so that we can see, hey, this is what we need to improve on. So the next time we try and do a mirror image, we should with some mirror image, like, oh, this thumb's pretty ugly, this middle finger's ugly, we drew them fast, so that didn't look nice, this gap between the fingers is awful. All these extra markings, it teaches you and it'll ingrain itself in your mind. But I mean, so just keep drawing. That's the key. Just keep drawing and eventually you'll get better. It's like, I'm not going to stop saying that either, because it is true. And as this week is done, you will see proof that this is true. So keep drawing your hands and see you next time.